Today's tutorial is inspired by a look I actually like by Beyoncé. I'm going to put the photo on my blog so you can see it, because it's actually not my image, so I can't put it up in my video. Now remember, this is inspired by, it's not to look like Beyoncé, it's just to take the makeup that she's wearing and do my version of on myself. I know this look won't be for everybody, I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments saying it's too much makeup, but this is a look that can be worn for an evening out. You can do your own version of it, you don't have to use the same thick foundations I'm using, you can use a light foundation, it's totally up to you. I do use a lot of heavier foundations because the lighting's really strong, but it's also a great way to get a really flawless base on camera, and I like to try out different products. I do apologise because you can probably hear I've actually got a cold at the moment, so you have to bear with me. The primer I use today is by Cover FX, it's got an SPF of 30 in it. Foundation I'm applying here is by Dermacolour. Dermacolour is also a product they would use for camouflage makeup. As I said, I'm using a thick foundation because that's the choice I want to go with today. It's not something I would wear out on a daily basis at all, probably not even out necessarily on evening makeup, but this is for the tutorial because of the strong lighting. So I've applied contour to the face, which is the dark sections. This pulls in all the cheeks, you'll see in other tutorials that I've done. So I've taken it around the hairline, also around the socket of the eye, down the sides of the nose just to make it straighter and slim, and also underneath my jawline and around my chin. Then I've applied the lighter shade, which is the highlight, across my forehead and down the bridge of my nose, brow bone, across the chin, underneath my eyes up towards the temples, also along the bottom of my jaw and across the top of my top lip and eyelids. You can also do this with normal liquid foundation in 2 shades. Next I'm taking Cover FX Cream Foundation in N25. This shade actually suits my skin tone, so what I'm going to do is use a little bit on my brush just to blend these colours together. The idea is that you still have a highlighted centre of your face, like forehead, nose, underneath your eyes and your chin. But you want to warm up the circumference of your face using the contour, so blending it all together will just give you a more defined appearance. It will give you a more three-dimensional look rather than a flat one-tone appearance to your face. This is much more flattering, it's much more feminine, and just creates a more flawless base, which we all want. So I'm just using a buffing brush working in circular motions just to blend all that together. If you find you've got an excessive amount of product on your brush, just wipe the excess off onto a tissue and then carry on. Remember to take it down the neck and across the ears because you want it to look as natural as possible. I use the term natural loosely. All I mean is you don't want a defined line around your jaw and your neck to be a different colour. I'm just using a brush to comb through my brows, and I'm using Anastasia Brow Duo in Brunette to define my brows. Now the picture of Beyoncé, she's got very dark eyebrows, but again this is inspired by, so I'm not copying, I'm doing my version of that suits my face. So to go extremely dark on me with my hair colour etc. just wouldn't work. So I'm going with what suits me, and if you're going to copy this look, you go with what suits you and your hair colour and your skin tone. Now, as I always do, I start at the base of my brow with the brow powder and I create a bit of a line and then I pull the colour up into the hair. Then I just use tiny brush strokes just to create little hair marks so they look a little bit like fuller hairlines as opposed to fake brows that are just completely and utterly just penciled in. Beyoncé has just got natural brows, she's got a nice natural shape to them. Mine are a little bit lighter, so obviously they need filling in and extending towards the end like I'm doing now. So after applying Urban Decay Primer Potion to the lid, I'm now using the Urban Decay Naked palette, and I'm just applying 2 of the brown shades out that just across the eyelid up to the socket line. On the reference photo I've got of Beyoncé's makeup, it doesn't go above the socket line, so when her eyes are open the eyelid is black but it isn't any higher above that. So I'm using this brown shade as a base. I like to use a shimmer as a base as well because in the flesh when you're wearing a dark shade like black, the shimmer will just show through a little bit, so it adds a little bit more dimension to your eyelid as opposed to a flat colour. And also I can't tell if it's a completely black lid or whether it is like an intense dark brown, so this will create that illusion of black but with a bronze undertone to it. Now on a pencil brush I'm taking that underneath the lower lashes. I'm just taking it out towards the outer edge and then using a fluffy brush just to blend that in. And on the same pencil brush I'm dipping that into Dark Horse, which is the dark brown shade in the Naked palette, and I'm creating a V shape. On the reference image, Beyoncé's makeup is like an almond shaped eye. I've got quite tall eyelids, so creating this V shape we're going to wing it out, but we're not going to wing it out too high, it's going to be like a low wing and this will give us that nice almond shape. I'm using a matte black by Louise Young from her Essential Eyes palette and I'm pressing that onto the eyelid. The reason I haven't set the foundation in place is one, I want it to settle on the skin, and two, if there's any fall down I can wipe it away, and then at the very end I'm just going to give it a quick powder down the centre, and then it will be less shiny and it will sort of look a bit more flawless as opposed to cakey foundation. Once I've packed the colour on, I'm just blending it out, then reapplying, again only up to the socket line, no further, and then blending again, because as the eye opens we want it to basically be on the eyelid, not above the socket. Notice I'm not applying the black to the almond shaped wing, I'm just using what's left on the fluffy brush to drag the colour out. Next I'm using a black chubby eye pencil by Miners Cosmetics. On the Beyoncé photo, underneath her eye, it isn't pristine, it's like a nice smoky smudged eyeliner. So the best way to get this is using a kohl pencil. So I've applied that, and then I'm using a big fluffy brush just to blend it out and smudge it. Next, along the waterline I'm applying Bobbi Brown's gel liner in ink black. Just use a finger just to pull the eyelid down very gently and run that along, and also smudge it in between the lower lashes, because I'm going to use a pencil brush just to smudge that in and help with that nice smoky, smudgy eyeliner appearance under the lower lashes. Repeat this process on the other eye. Take it right from the inner corner right along the waterline to the outer edge. I use the pencil brush just to drag it out slightly at the corners to enhance that almond shape. Next I took that same gel liner and I tightlined the eye, which is to go underneath those top lashes and just diminish any pinky tone. You can lift the lid to do this. When you do it on yourself it's a lot easier. And we're taking that same liner across the top of the eyelid. Now you don't need to be too neat with this because we are going to smudge it out. We're just going to create more depth right close to that lash line. I'm using the same pencil brush from earlier just to smudge it all out. Really smudge out that inner corner because we want a nice inky effect to the inner corner of the eye. With the product that's left on the pencil brush, you can see I'm just pulling it out at the outer corners just to define that wing, and then using a clean fluffy blending brush, I'm just softening that. Just go backwards and forwards, don't drag it upwards because we don't want a high wing. For the mascara I'm using Max Factor Excess Volume. I like to go backwards and forwards on the lashes just to coat both sides and then wiggle at the root and pull up. Beyoncé will have been wearing a pair of lashes, but they're not excessive. I am going to be putting a set of lashes on, probably more full than the ones Beyoncé's wearing. It's the look I want to add to it. Again, it's only inspired by, so you can add what you want and what your preference is. To add a subtle highlight to the brow bone, I'm using Shroom by MAC. The lashes I've chose to use are Judy by Flutter Lashes. These are the same ones I used in my Kim Kardashian inspired makeup. And the glue I'm using is by Duo. I take both corners of the lashes and place them straight down on my natural lashes, and then I push them back to the root of my natural lashes. You don't want it to be sitting on top of the skin. You want the glue to adhere to your natural lashes and seal to the root. This will give you the most natural appearance. Obviously Beyoncé's got that lovely caramel skin tone, but she is contoured, and I'm going to be adding to mine by using a matte bronzer by Cover FX. I've cleaned up under the eyes but I haven't powdered yet, and this is going to set that side of my face. So I'm taking it just along the cheekbone area. Remember, this can be for an evening out, a photo shoot, stage, etc. So you can go quite heavy with it. This isn't a daytime look. So I'm applying it quite heavily. I'm taking it down the neck, and I'm also going around the hairline, and I'm going to take it just down the nose a little bit. I'm using a brush to place all this on, and then I'm going to use my foundation brush from earlier just to blend it in slightly and make it a bit more seamless and flawless. On a clean blending brush, I'm just taking a little bit of that bronzer just through the socket line. Because we've added bronzer to the face, it just pulls the look together. Just taking a little bit of highlight from my Kryolan Glamour palette. I'm just going to take that across the top of the cheekbones and down the bridge of the nose and across the top lip. In the picture of Beyoncé, she's got a glossy nude lip. So I'm using a lip pencil by MAC in the colour Stone, just to line my lips and just define them a little bit more. In the picture you can see that Beyoncé's used a similar colour to line her lips. Once that's done, I just use my finger just to soften it, because you don't want it to look like a defined line, you just want to enhance the shape. To add a nudie colour to my lip, I'm using Hue by MAC. And again, just softening with my fingers. And then on top of that, to add a nice shine to it, I'm using Kryolan High Shine Lip Gloss in the colour Toffee. For a little bit of blush, I'm using my Kryolan Glamour Glow Elegance palette, and I'm using a mixture of Natural Tan and Juicy Mood. Then I used my M&S powder to powder down the centre of the face, and that's the look complete. I hope you liked it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and thanks for watching.